Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to take a look at the pens that I've currently got inked, but they aren't in my current EDC. So they're not pens that I'm using every day because you see those in my regular videos. These are pens that they're sat in my case and I just go and pull them out every so often if I need to do something and I need that particular pen or that particular colour. The aim is I've been trying to reduce these. Now I do at times have loads of inked pens, but that's mainly because doing these videos, obviously, at times you get loads of pens because you need loads of pens inked up for the videos. So let's start and take a look. Pen number 1. This is the Platinum Preppy. This is the 05 nib on here. Not sure if you see that there, 05. Had this inked up. This is what I call my sacrificial black ink pen. It's been inked up for quite a while because I don't often use it, but it's always handy knowing there is one. Now, let's see if this writes straight off. So we've got here a little bit of a light start, a Platinum Preppy. It's 05. And in here I've got Lamy Crystal Obsidian. This pen costs a whopping $8 Aussie. Nice, affordable pen. You know, it's cheap, it's cheerful, doesn't come with a converter. It did come with a cartridge, but I've actually eyedropped this. I say it's my sacrificial black ink pen. Next up, from Jinho, we've got the Jinho 100 Centennial. This is in the meteorite colour. I like this. It's different, isn't it? It's unusual. So this is a cartridge converter. We've got the converter in there. Does come with that converter. Metal fittings. The nib on here is not the Jinho nib it came with. I've actually changed the nib. So this is a Kiwi Pens cursive italic. It's a medium cursive italic. I did a video showing how I changed that a few weeks ago. So this is the Jinho. The nib does seem to be a little bit scratchy. 100 Centennial. But the line it gives, very nice and interesting line. So this is a cursive italic. And the ink in here is by Herban. And it's Terre de Fouet. Now I've got to remember how to write this. I keep on wanting to put UE, but it's not, it's EU. Cost of this pen was 15 Aussie dollars, but I had to pay for the nib. I think that was about another $15. But it's worth it because look at this, getting some really interesting line from this. I need to get this back into my EDC rotation. It's a very nice combo. Back to Japan. This one is a Natami, and it's the Natami Inception in sky blue. Hard to see, but this is actually faceted, so it's not a round barrel. You can actually feel the individual faceted stripes as you're twisting it. There's another one, cartridge converter, metal fittings. I do wish this one came with the resin or the plastic fittings because I think this would be gorgeous eyedroppered. I really do. On here I've got the nib which came with it. This is a Natami nib. Looks like a number 6 nib, and this is a fine. This is another pen. I may change the nib. I'm getting more confident with swapping nibs. So we'll take a look at that maybe in the new year. I might see if there's a different nib to try in here because I love the colour of this pen. So this is a Natami Inception with a fine nib. The only reason I changed the nib, it's not there's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer wider nibs. And the ink in here is by Diamine. And it's Eau de Nil. Price for this pen was 26 Aussie dollars. I do like this ink. I think it's a very nice coloured ink. It's an ink, I don't use it often enough. I should use it more often. And I think it goes really well with this pen. We're heading back to Jinho now. So this is a Jinho 100. This is in the skeleton version. I love this skeleton. So that's sitting over a transparent body. The ink Hardly any left. I'm actually going to put this out to wash once this video is finished. I think that's empty enough to clean out. The nib, it's an extra fine nib. There's a Jinho nib. This was actually what I was going to swap and put that cursive italic on. But this nib writes so nicely that I thought, nah, let's leave it. So we've got a Jinho 100. I'm going to call it Skeleton, with an extra fine nib. The line is actually quite nice. The ink in here is Diamine, Blaze Orange. So I inked this up as a combo for Halloween, and as you can see, I've nearly written it out now. Price wise, we're looking at 27 Aussie dollars. I do like the Jinho 100 range. I've got either 5 or 6 of them now. I've got quite a few, and a couple now I've changed the nibs on. But to be honest, the nibs that came on all these Jinho pens, they were really, really nice. We're staying in China, but we're jumping to Moonman. I'll just move this page up a little bit. This is the Moonman or the Mahjong P136. And I keep saying Moonman and Mahjong. I keep interchanging them. They are now called Mahjong. Piston filling pen. We've got a piston. Well, there's slots there. It's not really a window that goes all the way around. It's a series of little slots. I do find it hard to see what the ink is or how much the level is. Got the number 6 size nib there. Moonman nib or Mahjong nib. Again, Mahjong nibs, not really had any issues with them. They all write nicely. It's just they tend to be fine, and I would rather have wider nibs. So here we've got a Mahjong P136. It's got a fine nib. And then the ink in here is by Herban. And it's Eclat de Saphir. Cost of this pen, 37 Aussie dollars. So with these costs, I do try and check them regular to make sure that I'm quoting roughly about the right amount. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Next up, we're again staying in China. We've got the Hongdian N8. This is in flying feathers. This is a pen left over when I did my comparison of white pens. I think there's one more white pen as well to come, and that's up next. So this is a cartridge converter. Still got loads of ink in here, so I need to start using this more often. Again, number 6 size nib, Hongdian nib. Bit of a complex looking nib there, isn't it? I do wish it was 2-tone. I do like 2-tone nibs. So we've got a Hongdian. This is so gloriously smooth. It's the N8 and it's a medium. If anything, it's like too smooth. It's very, very glassy. The ink in here is by Colorverse and it's Hubble. I do love the name of Colorverse inks. This pen, 41 Aussie dollars. It's a very classy looking pen. Being white, you can use any ink in it as well. Very nice. Up next, this is the Kaweco Sport. I'll turn it around there so the name's actually the right way around. I wish the name was printed the other way around because this is how I tend to handle my pens. But we'll swap it around for now. This is a pocket pen. It's a short looking pen, isn't it? Like unscrew. The cap fits on the end. Once it does that, you get a nice size pen for writing with. It is very light. Now this pen, it does come with a cartridge. I normally, or up till now should I say, I just refill the cartridge. I have got a Kaweco converter, but it's teeny tiny, holds hardly any ink. But what I've done this time, this is a little bit of an experiment. I've actually eyedroppered the pen. So I put the ink into the barrel, a little bit of silicone grease around the threads, and that's how that sits. Kaweco nib, small looking nib. This is a 1.1 stub though. So this is a Kaweco Sport. Beautiful line variation on this. And I think I'm just going to carry on using this eyedropper because I've had no issues with it. The ink in here is by Robert Oster. And it's Grung Gilt. And the price for this pen is 41 Aussie dollars. Quite a nice ink this. I was going to say it's like a browny green, but I'm not sure if you can see it. It's got a shimmer in it as well. So I'm just trying to catch that. Hopefully you can see that. Move this up closer to the camera. Can you see any of that shimmer coming through? That's why I like to agitate it before I use it. Beautiful pen, beautiful delivery system for this ink. My next pen, I don't normally write with this, even though it's inked all the time. This is what I use for my titles. So this is Allstar Allstar. This is in this gorgeous purple colour. That's on really tight. I'm terrible for over tightening this. I'll have to remember not to do that. I've got a converter in here. You have to buy the converter separately. It does not come with a converter. Unlike most Chinese pens, most cheaper pens, this one is not a cheap pen. You still have to buy the converter. I think that's wrong. I think when you're paying for a pen, especially the money you're paying for a lot of these, you should get the converter in with it. That's Gary's little whinge for the day. The nib on here, this is why I use it for titles. It's a stub nib. It's a 1.5mm stub nib. Love the section. Guides my fingers really well. I set my pen's quite low and my fingers just fit in that absolutely perfectly. So this is a Lamy Allstar or Allstar with a 1.5 nib. The ink in here is by Cult Pens, made for them by Diamine. And this is Little Herbie. The price for this pen is 75 Aussie dollars. Plus about $15 for the converter. I won't go on that rant again. So that's the Lamy Allstar. Next up, this is one I'm not sure if it'll write or not. This one is by Schaer and it's a Schaer Prelude. Nice pen, nice and classy. I love the fact it's not a shiny black, it's got like a matte colour to it. And then this dull trim just sets it up very nicely. This one, I've got a converter in it. It's a proprietary converter. So be aware of that. If you want to get converters for this, it is proprietary. I could not get an international standard converter to fit it. Let's close this down. The nib, this is a Mr. Pen and Italics nib. And this is, he says, checking his notes to make sure I tell you this right, a medium cursive nib. I have to really concentrate when I'm using this pen because I have to hold it slightly differently than normal to get it to write, but that's because of the nib. But the line it gives me, oh, it's so beautiful. So this is a, see what I mean? Schaer. Let me just... So this pen did not want to write. What I've had to do is prime the feed. So now it's writing. Schaer. Just look at this beautiful line. Prelude. So it's a medium cursive. I'll write the word. The ink in here is by Robert Oster. One of my favourite inks at the moment. Cafe Crema. And this pen is 94 Aussie dollars. But I say it's beautiful. I really do like it. I love writing with it. Very nice pen. Shame that it dried out so much that I had to prime that feed. The final pen. That's right, the final pen. I haven't got many this week at all. This is from Twisp. This is the Twisp Draco. Beautiful colouring on this. I love the colouring on it. Piston filling pen. I don't like the ink window. You've heard me whinge about this often enough. You know, there's only a little tiny bit of that window which actually shows the ink. So it's next to useless. Nib. I would have preferred a bigger nib. Doesn't matter, the nib writes really nicely. It's a broad nib, but as I said, personal choice, I'd have liked a bigger one. So we've got here a Twisp Draco, broad nib. The ink is by Pure Pens, which is a Welsh ink maker, but this ink is actually made for them by Diamine. It's part of the Chartist series, and it's called the People's Charter. This pen is one of the few pens where I'm quite happy to say it's actually overpriced. It was 215 Aussie dollars. Beautiful looking pen. I just think for what you pay for it, it is very overpriced. Hopefully this has had a little bit of time to dry. As this ink's drying, hopefully we can get this into focus. I'm hoping you see the beautiful green sheen on this ink. So this month, my inked pens, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, down from well over 30 3 months ago. So done really well getting it down, although I've got to be honest, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be creating a number of videos where I'm comparing pens, so I would expect this number to increase over the next few weeks. These are my inked pens other than what's in my EDC. My EDC, my daily pens, you see them in my daily shorts. That's why I don't include them in this. You know, you don't need to keep seeing the same pen over and over. What pens have you got inked up? Are there like some EDC pens, and are there other pens which you don't seem to use as much? Please drop a comment down below. What are those pens? What are those inks? And what do you do? How do you try and make yourself use those pens? I'd love to know. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.